Good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo First. I'm temporarily substituting for Rabbi Yuval Levitt, who's taking care of some important business for the Yeshiva right now. And we learn Sefer Nefesh HaChaim here in Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi in Yerushalyim. We're in Shah Aleph, or Perik Gimel. I'll just give a preface to what the Chaim V'Lajin is discussing with us right now. The phrase which we're probably all familiar with, that the Torah uses in the creation of Adam and Rishon, was Tselem Elokim. So the previous chapter Beis, was discussing the use of the Russian Elokim. That it was with specific intention. The Torah was written with the word Elokim in the phrase Tselem Elokim. We know that there are many different shemus of the HaKodesh Baruch, many different names which refer to HaKodesh Baruch. And in general, all the different names refer to different aspects of the HaKodesh Baruch. Obviously not the essence of the HaKodesh Baruch, but obviously it's possible to really understand anything like the essence of the HaKodesh Baruch. But therefore we describe through words different aspects of the HaKodesh Baruch. Midas Adin, Midas Arachmi, mercy and judgment, Malchus, right? Bala Koithos, the master of all powers, which Elokim, as we've been taught in the second parak, Elokim, meaning the master of all forces in the universe. Right? So that expression, Elokim, combined with the expression Tselem Elokim, in reference to Adam, humanity, people, that is an indication of the power that people have been given by HaKodesh Baruch. Similarly, just as HaKodesh Baruch was Alakokos, he's in charge and master of all the different powers, similarly Adam has been given similar, although obviously not complete, power over all the Kokos powers in the universe. That's basically what Rav Chaim is going to be explaining to us word by word as we get into this third chapter right now. Any volunteers to read?
I'm not going to read it.
Sure.
Ken b'dinyan zeh, kiviyachol.
No, let's look at Cain b'dinyan, likewise, b'dinyan, with this analogy. Zeh, with Cain b'dinyan zeh, likewise with this analogy. I mean, this is a continuation of the analogy that was discussed in the second paragraph, the previous chapter.
Kiviyachol, as he is able to.
Kiviyachol is like an expression as so to speak. Meaning it's we're now applying what we were saying, right, about HaKodesh Baruch Hu. We're now going to, so to speak, apply it to people. It's really impossible to apply anything that HaKodesh Baruch Hu is to something which is finite. HaKodesh Baruch Hu is infinite, right, and absolute in all his powers, unchallenged in all his powers. So that you can't really, in a logical way, apply that to something which is finite and limited. Right? So it's always as a way of speech, as a way of speaking, we want to make a comparison. Just to help our understanding.
Hashem created man. Vayishluto al Ridei Rivan Kochot Olamot Ein Mispar, and he gave him to rule over the multitudes of powers and worlds that have no number.
So Shlita, the expression Shlita is rulership. A person who's a sholet, he's a ruler. A person who's sholet al atzmo, a person who's sholet, right, he rules over himself. Sholet al atzmo, right, he rules over himself. Right? So Adam has been given by HaKodesh Baruch Hu this ability to be sholet on myriads of powers and worlds without limit.
This Olamot is more true today than Rav Chaim could have even imagined, because probably in his day we controlled maybe the animal world, the fish world, Now we control the bacteria, the atomic world, the subatomic world. Very interesting.
DNA, beyond that, so the DNA is that's all inanimate. That's past the biological. It is biochemistry. Is that how they define DNA? Is in the area of biochemistry? Or is it beyond that? That's biochemistry.
It's interesting you say that, because my picture of this word of knowledge has always been spiritual. Spiritual words.
Oh, so
you're saying physical words.
Okay, very good, because you've been influenced on what you learned in the previous shiur. And Rabbi Chaim is really, the first parak really started with the whole concept that whatever Adam does in his physical world influences tremendous, absolute, infinite, almost infinite spiritual worlds. So you remember, you're influenced by what you read in the Torah in the first parak. Right? Now in the third parak, coming in just like parachuting in, like as Yaakov is kind of just parachuting into the Sefer right this minute. So just you would learn like Yaakov is doing, is talking about even physical, but it's true. As it says, in a physical way, we see that man is in certain ways having shlitta on many different powers, and when it comes to aim this part, that usually the aim mispar usually would have a connotation of being spiritual, because anything physical has to have a end, a limit. Right. However, if you take it to the non-literal aim, it could be like, as you said, infinity. Two types of infinity, right? So you can speak about the stars being without number. I mean, they do have a finite number of stars, right? But it's impossible for us to count them. So it doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual.
Right.
So this point to
well, space and time are infinitely vast, infinitely minute. So I think that applies also to the physical world also. Also, new stars are being created every day. The universe is expanding. So.
What do you mean space and time are infinitely minute?
I mean that what's the smallest amount of space? There's no such thing. There's space. Space is infinitely small. There's,
Actually, there is a concept.
You can zoom in as infinite. Right?
Actually, there is a concept that's not true.
I've never heard that.
There's a minimum amount of space. Go into quantum physics.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
Every time, I'm always hearing that there's a new smaller particle being discovered. So.
Particles, yeah, but the minimum amount of space. There's a mathematical concept that there is a minimum amount of space. Can't be divided. I forget what it's called. I'll see if I can Google it and find out what it's called.
I'm curious myself.
I just want to show you, just point out, this is in Pirkei Avos, the fourth parak there. I'll show you what you get to in a moment.
Why would space be infinitely vast and not infinitely small? Why would it not go the other way?
Because the whole underlying principle of quantum mechanics is that at the atomic level, things are not linear. Things jump around.
Right. I've heard that.
Right. So if things were linear, then you could say you can always go smaller. But if you're jumping, then there's a minimum jump.
Alright,
I guess that concept of jumping was based on the premise that you're jumping from two different points. To two different points, there must be some space or some minimal jump. If there's no jump, there's no
space to jump. There's no space because you can't jump into it. That space, right? This is the famous quote of Einstein. He said, "I don't believe in a dice throwing God." That's why he rejected quantum mechanics. Later he changed his mind, but he had an ongoing argument with Niels Bohr about the whole concept of things jumping around, saying no, God doesn't play dice. So it looks like God does play dice.
It's only the way we see it. We don't know what's really going on.
Absolutely.
I just want we use this expression "v'sholet al rivei rovim kokos olamos ein mispar." Lashon sholit. You have that there. That's the fourth word on the end of the first line. So here I want to contrast this with the Mishnah in Avos here. If you have the fourth parak, and the fourth, you have the third, right, the second line, you have Ezu Gibor, we have that there, Ezu Gibor. Who's a man of might, right? A Koivesh Es Yitzro, he who conquers his Yetzer, his urge, right? Shenemar, we have a pasuk, Shenemar, we have a pasuk that says, Shenemar, that says, Toiv Erech Apayim, it's good to be patient. Yigibor, from even more than a person who's a warrior, a mighty warrior. Umoishel Baruchai Melukaid Er. And who is Moishel Baruchai? He's one who's Moishel Baruchai. He's greater than a person who conquers a city. What's Moishel Baruchai? Moishel, you have two words, Shoilet and a Moishel. A person who's a Moishel is different than a person who's a Shoilet. Moishel is that he is ruling with consent, and a Shoilet is ruling without consent. Right? So we said here in Chaim Voloshin, obviously he's using a Shoilet, meaning he's ruling without consent. And here, if a person who's a Hezu Gibor, right? A person who's Moishel Baruch, he's ruling over his spirit. He's ruling over his internal powers, his personality. He's ruling over his power with consent, and he's not eliminating like what he really is, but he's working with what he is, and he's being Moishel. He's ruling with consent over what he has going on within himself. In contrast, the expression here that we're dealing with is a shoilet. A shoilet is what is being ruled upon without consent. Right? So just there's a lot to talk about when we get to Rosh Hashanah about these two concepts. But we'll leave that for right now. As time gets closer to Rosh Hashanah, maybe we'll just make a point about that. I wanted to point out the difference in the expressions based on the Mishnah Avos. Okay, you go ahead.
And he turns them over into his hand.
Well, they're given, meaning that Hashem has given these powers over to a person, right? Masram b'yado, they've been transferred to him, they've been given over to him. You know, it's like someone's given the keys to the car. So the keys have been Moshe. We actually the Lashon Bar in the Megillah, right? What was the guy was given the key, the king's ring, right? It was the bas. He was transferred. He was given the bas of Achashverosh to Haman. Mesira is called the Mesiras HaTabas. Tabas is a ring. Right? It's a pasuk in the Megillah. 1 second.
Yep.
Worthwhile to. I don't mind taking time. If I'm going too slow with this, you let me know.
Well, this is also in Pirkei Avos. First paragraph. He turned over the Masorah. He turned
Ah,
over
Moshe. Yeah, Moshe. Exactly. Moshe. Moshe Yeshua. Exactly. You pointed out.
Moshe Kibbel Torah Yisrael Misara Yerushalyim Nevi'im Misaruha La'anshek.
Yeah, everyone pointed out. You see that on the first page in Avos there. And if you still have your Pirkei Avos, go back a few pages, and you'll see the expression there as well. You see page 391. 391, the very first parak to be shown. Yeah, about
Musara.
yeah, Moshe Kibul Torah Sinai. Moshe received the Torah from Sinai, Mosra, and transferred it to Yeshua. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu transferred Mosra, he transferred the tradition from what he had received from HaKodesh Baruch Hu Sinai to Yehoshua.
What's the distinction between the hay and the mem ending?
Plural. The mem must in the expression here in Rav Chaim Vajin in Yerushalyim musram, because we're talking about the kochos plural and olamos, the worlds plural. So they were given plural biyadoi to the humanity, to the people, humanity biyadoi, given over to us. Right? But Moshe Kibul Torah, the singular Torah, Umosra, and transferred it singular, to Yehoshua.
You just want to show us Masra in context? We got to figure out.
Here it's a different conjugation. I want you to see this conjugation.
But that's okay, yes.
Because these things you come across these again, so you make a mental note of these things, because you'll have occur, you'll read the Megillah again and again. So here, right there, that last word right here, by Yud, Yud.
Here.
Yeah, so it says here, V'yasar hamelech es tabatoi me'al yado v'yitna l'hamen ben hamdasa hagadi tzur hayudim. V'yasra, the king, like removed and transferred his tabatoi, his ring, me'al yado, from off his finger, v'yitna, and gave it to Haman, his name was Ben Hamdasa Agagi Sharayudin, the troublemaker for the Jews. So you see that also.
Where's our word?
Here it is, Yud Reish, Yud Samik Reish. Yeah.
The Yasa.
We also have, you've heard the expression Ben Sora or Mora, right? Sora, he's off the derek, he's moving off the derek. So Sora is to move, to transfer. Then Sora Mora, he's wayward and he's rebellious.
But here it seems to mean remove.
Right, here it's like remove.
Whereas in our case it seems to be gave over.
Yeah, well,
It seems like a different meaning.
Well, but the shorish is the same. The shorish of Samik Reish, right, is a concept of movement, right? So transfer is also a movement.
It's funny because it says V'hishlito
Yep.
caused him to rule, caused man to rule over the kochos and the olamos. And now you're saying, and moved it into his hand. If he's ruling over it, it seems like it's climactic.
You can have something which is given over to you, but you're not shoulder on it. I could put you on a horse if you had ridden a horse. The horse is going to be in charge, not you.
Right. So, but this is the opposite. This is first saying if he said umas ram biado v'hishlito, then I would say that makes sense. He gave it over to his control. He gave him the knowledge and experience to ride a horse,
Right.
and made him the master of the horse.
Oh, so
But this is, he made him the master of the horse and then gave him the ability.
No.
That seems
you,
funny.
first of all, you're right. We have to recognize there's a double expression here. That's right. What Lou is saying is there's a double expression here, which
Right.
apparently seems unnecessary. Whenever one of the basics of learning is you always try and understand things in their basic pashut shot, what we say, and the first step in analysis is you try and analyze everything as to is each and every word necessary? Could it have been said more succinctly, right? So in this case, you're saying you could have, if it's sholet, maybe sholet on it, right? So what do I have to say? It was mushroom. If it's mushroom, right over there, it's sholet.
Right.
So apparently it's extra. However, there apparently is a necessity of both things. I can have you be let's go back to the horse. I can have you be sholet on the horse. You're a good rider, right? But that I give you the horse, that it's your horse to ride, that's another story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're a good rider. You can maybe use my horse, borrow my horse, but it's must I'm going to give you the horse, entirely that it should be yours, right? So here, so the chiddush that's coming out, like based on Lou's observation, is that it's not that we're simply ruling over these powers, these koichos, and we're ruling over these oilamis, right, these worlds, but they're also mosram biyado, meaning they become ours in some way. They are ours in some way. It's not simply that we're left in charge of something, but we're also being given what we call bias. We're given ownership. Right? We're given ownership. Just like if you go back to Pirkei Avos, Moshe Kibul Torah Misilon, Moshe Yeshua. Yeshua was given the bias, the ownership of what he was given and what he was transferred to him from Moshe Rabbeinu, and that he transferred it further. So it's a double dimensional thing that's taking place here. It's not simply the power to rule over these things, but it's also that those things he's ruling over, he becomes owner of those things. He is what we call the Baal. He has domain and dominion over those things which he himself is owning.
Now, in the case of Yehoshua, so Yehoshua didn't just get a gift; he had to work very hard in order to become the owner. It was a partnership between Moshe. It was a two-way transfer. Is that concept here also that there's a two-way, or is this a concept of simply a gift that Hashem created it and established? This is what it is.
Since we're talking about the creation of Adam, this is the way it was as Hashem established it to be this way. This is where Hashem established Adam Tzelem Elokim, right? That he is going to be Sholet and Moshe, Sholet and owner of all these things. To a very real extent, Adam is the Baal. He's the owner of this world. He's the owner of this world.
So how come there's 20% that say Hashem owns the land? Hashem owns the
No,
Hashem's world.
because in truth he does.
Right.
I mean, in essence, we can't forget that Hashem is in fact the absolute owner, and just we'll say, just like we have Sholit on all the power. Hashem is Sholit on all the powers. So, but it's like I was giving an example last week, and a similar question came up. It's like I think we answered one of your questions. We have a limousine, right? And you have the chauffeur, who's the driver, but who's the real boss? He's sitting in the back seat. And he's got whatever he's got in the back with it's amazing. Some of these limousines, 14 doors in the seats. I can see.
Little television in there.
Yeah.
The bar comes out.
Everything. I remember when I was last, I flew from Florida to LaGuardia. So there was a fellow there on the side. Coming out of the terminal. So I heard this. He says, "He smacks to you." What are you up to, do? So I turned around. There's this black fellow. So I said, how do you know Yiddish? He says, I know my customers. So I said, yeah, what do you? So I said, yeah, what do you want? So I says, where are you going? He said, I'm going to where was it? Borough Park. I was going to Borough Park. So I said, maybe you need a limousine. So I had one of these big things. I says, how much money? It was only $80. I should have taken it, but just for the fun of it. But I took a regular cab instead.
$80?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like that much for
No,
me.
no. The cab almost came to that almost as well, just because with the traffic and the meter and everything like that.
Right.
So, yeah, but I didn't know. I didn't know. Yeah.
That's funny.
So, but yeah, you have these big limousines. So you got the guy in the back, and he's it's his car. He's got like they say the TV, the bar, everything like everything you could possibly want. And then the driver, he's Shoilet, who's Shoilet on who's controlling the car. The one who's driving was called, but who's controlling the driver.
ומסרה בידו שהוא המדבר והמנהיג אותם, as it is he who speaks and like drives, oversees
supervises and drives them. And he's directing them. This is tremendous. This is the man. This is tremendous. Why does he have to mention Hamedaber? This is a tremendous Kiddush of our time. He's speaking that the power of our speech is being introduced here in a special way. He is Hamedaber. Right? Umani goes. I would have just written, right? Shayahu Hamani goes. So he's the one who directs them. What is Hamedaber? Umani. He speaks, meaning with our speech we're controlling all these koichos and with all these worlds with our speech. See now, we have a point to mention. We may be talking about spiritual things, right? Through speech, right? You're controlling all these worlds and these powers, right?
Love Dafka, it's spiritual. Hashem created the world through speech, and so now man rules the world through speech.
Oh, so in that way we can continue the analogy, right? The analogy, Adam is Selim Elokim, right? That just like the HaKodesh Baruch Hu, it's explained to us in the Torah that through Asar Mamoras, right? You take a look, take your Pirkei Avos, go to page 400, actually, maybe it's page 399, right? Page 399. Perik Chamishi, the fifth perik. You have it there, the first reminder there. Yaakov, would you like to read that?
Ba'asra ma'amarot nivra ha'olam. With 10 statements, the world was created.
Right, so we see Hazal teaching us clearly that the world was created with 10 statements. Right? So just to finish it up, why should that be? Mato, go ahead.
Finish that pasuk?
Yeah, from my start.
Umat Talmud Lamar, and what does this come to teach? V'halo ma'amar echad yachol lahivrot ela.
No, so that's the question.
Right.
Umat Talmud, halo, is it not? V'halo, is it not? In Maimer echad yochel lahivros, was it not that the world could have been created with one statement, but the HaKodesh Baruch Hu has to use a lot of words? Why only say 10 words? Hashem could have just as well as created the world without, and if for that matter, Hashem could have created the world without any worlds. Who needs words? Right? Who needs words? Again, you have to understand how does do we understand this? The Hashem talk. Usually you say you need a mouth to talk, right? Right. So we know Hashem ain't no goof. Right, ain't no gavir. So what's the concept of words? All right, that's maybe as we get closer to Har Sinai, another 2 weeks from now, we can speak about the Asaras of Dibros a little bit. What took place there, the sounds and everything. But why do you need 10 words? It could have been done with one. Ella, why?
Ella hara min Yerushalyim sheme'avdin et ha'olam shenivra ba'asra ma'amarot. Rather to separate.
This literally to pay, to take payment,
to
exact payment,
yeah.
recompense.
Or even to exact punishment, even, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mean harashim, the evil people, sheme'avdin, who destroy.
Yes,
and
destroyed.
It's a olam shenivra ba'asar. These people who refuse that, who try to refute that idea.
No, they were simply showing that whatever that definition will be, right? We'll leave that alone for the time being. Whatever Rishoyim are doing, but those who are Rishoyim, they are destroying the world.
Which is created in 10 statements.
They're gonna, why 10? Because in order to take exact just payment from those Rishoyim that are destroying the world that was created with 10 statements. Litain, in contrast.
Litain sachar tov, and give good rewards of tzaddikim, shemikayamin, who fulfill at ha'olam shenivra b'ma'asra ma'amarot, who uphold the world.
Yes.
Asra dorot.
Oh, so that's that. Okay. So basically, the question was, the first statement was, the world was created with 10 statements. The question was, why do we need 10 statements? One statement should have been just enough. The answer is that in order to take exact punishment from the Rishonim who destroy a world that was created with 10 statements, and to give a good reward to the tzaddikim that they're upholding the world that was created with 10 statements. Right? So, just to understand this Chazal a bit, the Maharam in Prague explains as follows, what's going on here in the Mishnah, as follows. What's the difference if you have one statement or 10 statements? So the answer was reward and punishment. That there's more reward for those who uphold a world that was created with 10 statements, and there's more punishment for those who destroy a world that was created with 10. So to understand this, the Maharal in the Prague explains as follows. You have a crown. King has a crown, right? There's a big difference between a crown that has 1 jewel or 10 jewels. So if you come along and destroy a crown that has one jewel, it's not so bad. If you destroy a crown that has 10 jewels, right, it's much worse. So likewise, and it's true, HaKodesh Baruch Hu could have created the world with one word, one statement. However, the fact that HaKodesh Baruch Hu, so to speak, put in more effort, right? Just like you have a crown that has 10 jewels, the jeweler, the maker of that crown put in more effort, right? Forgetting about the value of the jewels, let's say there was one big diamond that was worth $1 million, right? And you had another crown that had 10 diamonds, each worth 100,000. So in terms of the relative value, of course, a diamond that's bigger than that is, but the relative value is the same, right? But the effort in making that crown, right, that has 10 jewels, right, is much greater than the crown that was set with 1 jewel, right? So when a person's going to come along and Mikayim, he's going to give continuity and existence and help establish the continuity of this world that was put, so to speak, more efforts into, gets more reward. If he comes along and destroys something which is more significant, he gets more punishment. So the world that's created with 10 statements is more significant than a world that was created with 1. And what's the significance relevant to? To those who are going to get a reward or those who are going to get a punishment. So here you see that Rekayim is saying, Shehu HaMedabir, he's the one who speaks, HaMedabir. He's not that he's speaking, HaMedabir, he is the one who speaks, meaning humans are the ones that speak. HaManig Osam, and he is the one, right, who is directing them. All those powers, Kobos, and Olamos, those words, right?
So Hamanig is referring to Hashem, not to me.
No.
I thought you said. Okay.
No, meaning he's the person.
He's the person. Okay.
Yeah, and again, this is something we can. Each of the How many, we said, what, there's 6.5 billion people in the world now? Or 8.5
No,
billion?
8 billion, right?
8 billion? 8 billion, give or take.
Give or take $1 billion.
Between 7.5 and 8, I think.
Yeah,
So-
that sounds right to me.
Yeah. So of all these human beings, each human being is given, we're all created in Tsama Elohim, right? It may be enhanced in terms of different types of people, and in Jews certainly it's a whole different level, it's a whole different realm. But we all have this power, right? And obviously how all these, what do they call them? They don't call them soldiers, they call them you don't have to call them soldiers, that's too human, they want to dehumanize them, but not agents, but all these operatives. All these operatives. They don't call them soldiers. It's human. You have to dehumanize the whole situation. Send 1,000 operatives into the field. They're not sending, 200,000 soldiers into the field. We might have too much recognition. So we have all these 7 to 9 billion operatives in the world working, and each one is controlling all these worlds and all these culprits in his greater little way. And the HaKodesh Baruch was obviously, so to speak, managing all this input. That this world should be, turn out the way it is every given second, every given moment, every given situation. So we have all these operatives at work. So some greater and some lesser, depending on that's the uniqueness of humanity. The Ramchal and there at the Shim speaks about this very shortly in the succinctly as a era, that humans have this ability to direct and control what's going on in this world, whereas no other being, entity in the world has that power. Birds have no such power, animals have no such power, plants have no such power, not at all. So the humans that have this power. So
Ants come close. Ants come kind of close.
could be. I mean, again, it's all within the realm of Teva. They're not going to. Whatever they're going to do, there are no cosmic and no spiritual ramifications to what they're doing.
Yeah. In terms of biomass, I understand that ants make up more of the animal biomass than people do.
Good.
From what I understand.
Could be.
That's interesting. Yeah. And they also mold their environment. They also have a hierarchical, advanced hierarchical like society.
Yeah.
Strata, leadership, workers, etc.
The world of the ants.
They can't learn Torah though, so we have them on that.
So this is very significant. Hamadaber, he's Madaber Hamani Gosam. Al pi kol prate tenuos ma'asav.
Pikol prate tenuot ma'asav. According to all the details, I'm not sure to know what it's like paths.
No, literally movements.
Movements.
Ma'asav, the movements of his behavior.
Of his doings.
Yeah, his behavior, actions. The movements of his actions. The movements of his actions.
The Diburav and his speakings, his speech.
Good.
Machshavotav and his thoughts. Akol Sidre Nehagotav, and all the orders of his, guiding. Of his direction. It's basically just a noun form of manhi. Customs.
Supervision. Yeah, I'm not sure what's being added here. I mean, because he's just all his movements, all his speech, all his thoughts, and all Sidri Hanhagosa, all the arrangements of his directions and of his supervision.
This is Lashon like orderliness, I think. Adding like a sense of order.
Right.
Hein latov o the hefech chas l'shalom. Oh, chas v'shalom. Hein latov. This is all for good.
whether they're for
I
good,
see, okay. Whether for
whether
good
they're,
or for
oppositely.
overturning.
Well, oppositely, or oppositely, meaning bad, also means, that's the whole concept here. So if you do good, if you speak well, if you think well, right, then there's going to be outcomes that will be beneficial to the world. And hasashol nehepech, if it's the opposite, the person's going to behave badly, he's going to speak badly, he's going to think badly. So that'll be something hasashol which is going to be detrimental.
Since with his deeds and his words and his thoughts are good.
That are good. That are good.
That are good. Hu mekayem v'notein koach b'chama kochot v'olamot al yodim HaKodesh. He upholds and gives strength in many strengths, powers, olamot and worlds, upper worlds, and holy
There you
upper
go. There's the
worlds.
Elionot. That's where I got the spiritual from.
HaKodesh also. If it was just Olamot Elyonim, if it was just Olamot Elyonim, you would think maybe the galaxies, the planets, the stars.
Right.
But it is HaKodesh, the fact that they're holy,
Right, this is-
obviously that's something which is spiritual.
Umosif behem kedusha, and he adds upon them holiness and light. Kamosha Ketsuv, as it is written in Yeshiva, the Asim Divarai Beficha, I will place my words in your mouth. Gomer.
And the pasuk continues
Right.
on, like that's like 3 dots in English. In English writing, you put 3 dots.
Limtoa Shemayim Lisod Aretz, in order to plant the heavens and to lay the foundations of the land.
Torah like to spread out the heavens, and Torah also like to spread out the heavens and to lay the foundations of the earth.
Okay, so this is what we were struggling with, and now it's clear.
Go ahead. Tell us, what was the struggle and what's the
The
clarity?
struggle was that I said, well, wait a second, these are spiritual worlds. Why does it say Aretz?
Right.
But now that we've had the conversation with you, and you were saying it refers to both, and this is the raya for that, because it says Shemayim and Aretz, right? Remember that whole?
Yes.
I was asking you.
That's right. Last time we were doing this when you were asking about that, right? So, yeah.
Read on? Okay. Ma'amaram, Zichronam, Lebracha, and just as their speech and the chav is as they have said, ma'amram is they have said, and as they have said, Zichron Bracha of blessed memory. And that's a reference to Chazal in the Gemara or Medrash. Amram, as they have said, Zichron Bracha of blessed memory. Al Tikra Banayich, Ella Banayich was a famous one. Don't read your sons, rather read your builders.
Right. So that's a reference, and it's interesting. The Yerushalyim has chopped off the first part of the Chazal. We say this at the end of our davening. Maybe you remember this. I'll reference you to the page in the Siddur over here. So we have it over here. You want to just reference the page 104. Reference to page 104 in your Siddur. The top, so you can start from the top statement over there.
Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Chanina, Talmidei Chachamim Marbim Shalom Ba'olam. Like students increase peace in the world. Shne'emar B'kol Banayich Limudei Hashem. As it is said, all of your sons are teachers of Hashem.
Yeah. Kol b'nayich limudei Hashem. Although all your sons that are learning, I think I would say like learning from you. I mean, let's take a look at the art and see what the Bible says.
Well, it's a semichud, isn't it?
Yeah.
Limudei Hashem, so that's possessive.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
If you want the art scroll, it's down.
Yeah, this is.
Do you want the art scroll?
Yeah, sure. Okay, good. Okay, he says over here, Kol b'nayich, all your children, Yudei Hashem will be disciples of Hashem's Torah. Yudei Hashem will be, and great will be the peace of your children. I will do it here. Could be, I'll tell you, this is a Kutzler, so you not.
Oh, yeah. Remember we did that the other day?
Yeah. That's probably going to be. There's those. Okay, there's those who learn, disciples of Yitzchak Kutzler. Shabbos, you need Shabbos from here.
Oh, I see.
Kol b'nayich limudei Hashem, Shalom b'nayich. And call your children, all your children, limudei Hashem, are the disciples, those who learn of Hashem's Torah. Shalom b'nayich, and shall be great the peace of your children. So al tikrei b'nayich is al tikrei. Don't read right your children, but read ela bonayich, your builders. And this is talking about. Like this, you see what the mimer is talking about is Talmidei Chachamim, right? Just significant that the Prime didn't bring the first part of it. This gives you the feeling that you're teaching about everybody. But okay, that's a separate question to be developed. Okay.
Kehema Sadrim Olamot Elyonim, since they are
the ones who arrange Sadri. They are the arrangers.
the builders of Torah.
The Olamim Elyonim who have the worlds.
Kirvane Sader, like the person who builds and orders his building.
Structure, right. It's a structure of building.
Tanim Behem Rav Koach, and like confers upon it strength, great strength.
They give to the worlds. So they're giving to the world great strength. Okay, we'll stop here for about 5-10 minutes until the next year a little more.